I'm John Davis, and this is MotorWeek. Join us as we see if the Subaru Solterra can heat up the EV market. Then pop the lid for some Your Drive underhood detailing advice. Then we head out west for a desert rally with a difference. Then it's back to the pavement in the elegantly practical Buick Envista. So come drive with us next.
MotorWeek, television's original automotive magazine. MotorWeek is proudly sponsored by Auto Value and Bumper to Bumper, a nationwide network of stores and shops providing major brand auto and truck parts and service from coast to coast and in your local community. Service is the difference. We get it. Learn more at autovalue.com and bumpertobumper.com.
TireRack.com is proud to support MotorWeek.
And now, a very brief history of TireRack.com. First there was the wheel, then the tire.
We'll call it Tire Rack.
40 years later, we're not slowing down. TireRack.com.
You could say that Subaru is one of the more conservative brands out there. So it's no surprise it took them a little longer than most to venture into pure EV territory. But now that they've staked a claim with this Solterra, it's time for us to see if Subaru buyers should plug in. The Subaru Solterra is indeed the brand's first full battery electric vehicle. And while it took partnering with Toyota to make it happen, as we've seen with the BRZ and GR86 Sport Coupes, that partnership can lead to some great things. So we'll start there. The Solterra's counterpart is the Toyota BZ4X, and they do share most powertrain elements, specs, and features. But Subaru has done a few things to establish some unique vibes for their brand. That starts with the drivetrain, as all-wheel drive is standard here, as in most Subarus. And in similar tradition, power won't overwhelm you. It's more safe and familiar feeling than overpowering as some EVs can be. Called Star Drive, this Subaru's dual motor setup rates 215 horsepower and 249 pound-feet of torque. Subaru loves to tout that their drivers are second only to Jeep owners when it comes to venturing off pavement, so capability is a must. We did find Solterra as competent as every other Subaru. Their X mode has been programmed to work seamlessly with the electric motors, and its 8.3 inches of ground clearance is higher than the BZ4X. Plus, you can use grip control to moderate speeds and maximize traction. While most new EVs seem to be hovering around 300 miles of range, max here in the Solterra from its 72.8 kilowatt-hour battery pack is 227 miles, 222 here in touring trim. Our results were much less than that, on pace for just 172 miles in our driving loop. But that may be a fluke since we managed 210 plus in our BZ4X test. Only 100 kilowatt max for DC fast charging, but even though it has only been on the market for a year, they've already cut down charging times for 24 models. An upgraded battery conditioning system needs 35 minutes for an 80% charge. Subaru always seems to come out on the right side of being cool while remaining authentic, and the Solterra's styling works, as does its beefier roof rack for 24, which now holds up to 700 pounds for tents and the like. Touring trim comes with some great-looking 20-inch alloy wheels, and there's lots of body protection, but they did go a little overboard with all of the EV badges everywhere. In addition to being a good-looking small SUV, it's a highly functional one too, with plenty of room for 5, durable materials, and a bridge-type center console with lots of storage space underneath, though there is no traditional glove box. Subaru also claims it was designed to be dog-friendly, so that's a plus too. It does have the roomy feel of an Outback, and rear cargo capacity is pretty close too at 29 cubic feet. We found ride quality to be quite good and handling spunkier than expected. It really shined in the handling course at our Mason-Dixon test track. The EV low center of gravity giving it a very planted feel through the cones. There was minimal body roll and great all-wheel drive grip. Though when it came to us getting a grip on the steering wheel, well, it's an oddly shaped steering wheel that took some getting used to. It's another thing that separates it from the BZ4X, though it seems a little bit like just being different for the sake of being different. On the other hand, while not insanely fast like some EVs, there was good punch off the line, enough to get us to 60 in 6.2 seconds. And rather than rolling back the power, the Solterra kept it consistent the whole way down the track. We finished the quarter mile in 14.8 seconds at 93 miles per hour. There wasn't much feel coming through the brake pedal, but panic braking stops were fade-free with an average amount of nosedive. Our stops from 60 averaged 120 feet. Using 33 kilowatt-hour of electricity per 100 miles, the Solterra earns a good efficiency rating. Pricing starts at $46,340 for the base premium and tops out with Touring at $53,340 with limited in between. Being the rugged and lovable outdoor types, Subaru owners have proven to be willing to sacrifice certain things for the good of the environment they spend so much time enjoying. Whether that will translate to them going all in on the 2024 Solterra remains to be seen. It's no surprise Subaru has finally gone all electric, and it shouldn't come as a surprise that they've entered the EV game conservatively. Something tells us Subaru owners wouldn't have it any other way.
The annual Rebelle Rally is a unique event. Not only is it the longest off-road rally in the U.S., but the competitors are all women. This year, 10 automakers, including Ford, Rivian, and BMW, were vying for the podium. Our Stephanie Hart met up with the competitors in the middle of the California desert to show us how the Rebelle Rally blends their love of driving with the ultimate challenge of precise navigation.
It's so peaceful and beautiful out here. 65 teams of 2 will be competing in 4x4 and X-Cross stock vehicles. The women will be driving up to 200 miles a day, navigating a variety of checkpoints, and they're doing it the old school way with just a map and a compass. The Fierce Rebelle Rally competition takes place over 8 days, covering more than 1,300 miles of iconic off-road terrain. It's not a race for speed, it's a competition where precision driving and navigation take the driver's seat. The 130 competitors start at Mammoth Mountain in California and end up at the California-Mexican border in the Glamis Imperial Sand Dunes. Along the way, the terrain is stunning, but also intimidating. A combination of dirt roads, double tracks, trails, and sand dunes.
The best way to be a badge of honor is to make it tough, to be something that they're proud of winning, or that they're proud of just crossing the finish line.
Training to just get here is intense and typically takes months.
We had seat time, we practiced navigation techniques, so it's a lot of preparation if you want to be successful.
There are compass and map challenges and endurance challenges, either being en route or on time. There's a lot of stopping along the way to problem solve, and getting stuck like this happens. In the end, the highest score wins.
It's like a cold plunge for 6 days, 7 days. What brings me back is this makes me a better leader, better mom, and a better friend.
Participants come from a broad range of professions with a large number of women in science, technology, engineering, and math. This year, temperature fluctuations along the way were insane. It was only 14 degrees at the start of the rally and 110 degrees at the end. The rally is a rigorous test for people and vehicles, especially EVs. Along the way, renewable innovations used green hydrogen to charge the EVs.
It's a game of time versus efficiency versus a lot of control with your skinny pedal to make sure that you have efficiency throughout the day.
I had the opportunity to experience what it was like to be a competitor, taking a few off-road adventures in the sand dunes and learning how to navigate tough terrain without any tech. One of the really cool things about the Rebelle Rally is it shows you just how capable the adventure vehicles in your driveway really are. It's an unpredictable journey out here in the Glamis sand dunes, and that's half the fun of it. Needless to say, off-roading in the sand dunes in the extreme heat had me drinking more Gatorades than I could carry on most days. And I camped out in these tents for 3 nights nearby the teams. Clearly, I was very grateful for this nearby industrial fan and took full advantage. From mud to mascara, the Rebelle Rally finale kicks off with a red carpet event, music, a Michelin star chef dinner, and an award ceremony. In the 4x4 class, Lily Macaruso and Alex Anderson won first place in a 2023 Rivian R1T. This is the first time an EV has ever won the Rebelle Rally. The women have come a long way. Last year, they were rookies in the competition. Both are Rivian employees.
We have a really unique perspective on it. We know these vehicles in and out, and we worked on it, so it's a little bit of honor there.
In the X-Cross class, Melissa Clark and Jessica Moore won first place in a 2022 Ford Bronco Sport. Congratulations!
You've spent all day cleaning the outside and the inside of your pride and joy, and now the big question. Do you really want to tackle the dirt and grime under the hood? After all, most will never see it. Plus, where do you start? What precautions do you take? And what tools are right for the job?
Keeping your ride clean is about more than just cosmetics, and that is especially true under the hood. All the dirt and grease that builds up on your engine and related parts does a number of things. It can deteriorate hoses, belts, insulation on wiring. Anything made of rubber does not like grease and oil. Dirt on the engine can cause it to run hotter because heavier deposits like grease and grime can act as an insulator and trap heat inside the engine. Another benefit of routinely cleaning under the hood is to help spot small fluid leaks and get them fixed before they become big ones and lead to even bigger problems. Now, how do you do it? First, a little prep work goes a long way. Let your engine cool off. Disconnect the negative battery cable, remove dry dirt, debris, and loose dust under the hood with a brush or a shop vac or even a blower. Protect carburetors, air intakes, and wire connectors with a plastic bag or tightly wound plastic food wrap. Engine degreasers are popular and effective. You spray them on, let the chemicals soak for a bit, and then rinse them off with the bare minimum of water using a mist setting. As with any chemical used around your car, you have to read and follow the labeled directions. In most cities and states, there are rules for disposing of used automotive fluids, and that may include the residue from cleaning your engine. You can use a household multi-surface cleaner on a lot of the plastic parts under the hood, but remember, unless you use a brush and scrub the parts clean, they will look great while they're wet and look as nasty as ever once they dry. High-pressure washers and underhood areas typically don't mix, but if you must, be sure to dial back the pressure, use a wide fan spray setting. High pressures can force water inside wire connectors, light housings, and even under wire insulation, leading to corrosion down the road or starting problems right away. To avoid these problems, dry and blow off any remaining water under the hood. A blower will work, compressed air, but again, be careful not to overdo the pressure. Also, anytime you unplug a wire, connector to do any repair or change a bulb or something like that, apply some dielectric grease to the inside of the connector to help keep moisture out. And if you have any questions or comments, reach out to us right here at MotorWeek.
You know, the automotive beat never sleeps, so let's join Stephanie Hart for the latest motor news.
There have been a lot of exciting products coming from German brands lately, so we start off with an off-roader with a lot of glitz, glamour, and a first-time powertrain. Mercedes-Benz adds a new addition to its iconic G-Class, and this one has gone all electric. The GEV trades a bi-turbo V8 for 4 electric motors and a 116 kilowatt-hour battery, putting way more output to the dirt, 579 horsepower and 859 pound-feet of torque. It keeps the G's rugged ladder frame, independent front suspension, and solid rear axle. We expect over-the-top off-roading with the luxury to match. And now the excitement moves over to Porsche, which has just wrapped up development of the first ever street-legal gas-electric hybrid 911. It's been rumored for quite some time, but now we have our first look at the 911 hybrid. According to Porsche, the hybrid system used is performance-focused, and it shows. In testing, the new model was able to complete a lap of Germany's famed Nürburgring 8.7 seconds faster than a comparable gas-only 911. The new 911 hybrid was tested in all sorts of conditions, from freezing cold and demanding heat, clocking over 3.1 million miles of development driving. And finally, our focus is on BMW, where they haven't forgotten about their internal combustion heritage with the release of the new M4 CS. It starts with a turbocharged 3-liter inline-six, tuned here to output 543 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque. That's an increase of 20 HP over M4 competition coupe. The high-revving engine sends power to the all-wheel drive system through an 8-speed automatic. All said and done, the M4 CS is aiming for 0 to 60 times around 3.4 seconds. An electronically limited top speed of 188 miles per hour. And that's it for this week's Motor News.
We would love to test every single ride that shows up at our door, but sometimes all we have time for is a quick spin.
This is the 2025 Toyota Camry. It begins its 9th generation, and we're just back from a quick spin first drive in Southern California. For its 9th act, the Camry is sporting a somewhat flashy new costume, adorned with aero treatments, sporty black trim, and dual exhaust tips for cars in the SE family, while the LE family keeps it classy and clean. As we've seen in other recent Toyota products, it's now an all-hybrid lineup for the Camry. But not to worry, hybrid is rarely synonymous with slow these days. This is the 5th generation of Toyota's two-motor hybrid system, pairing e-power with the 2.5-liter i4 for 225 horsepower in front-wheel drive and 232 horsepower in all-wheel drive Camrys. Replacing the last Camry's mechanical all-wheel drive system with a 3rd electric motor for the rear axle means it's now Toyota's electronic on-demand setup, and it can be added to any Camry trim. It feels plenty powerful, plus gets a combined rating of up to 50 miles per gallon, just 1 mpg less than the front-wheel drive's 51 combined. There are many reasons why the Toyota Camry continues to be America's best-selling sedan. And it's also a big reason why some brands are no longer even in the sedan-making business.
For me, the Camry has always been the most comfortable of the family sedans. The kind of comfort that makes me want to take an extended road trip, maxing out fuel range between stops. It's good to see that that hasn't changed with this generation. The ride quality is as good as you'll find in anything not labeled a luxury car, and this thing will definitely eat up some miles in comfort.
Pricing starts around $29,000, with all-wheel drive a $1,525 option. 2025 Toyota Camrys are rolling off the assembly line now and should be arriving in dealerships this month. And we'll be back with more quick spins soon.
In case you missed it, Buick is now an all-SUV brand. That's right, no more new LeSabres or Regals prowling American streets. But with the new utility-minded mission also comes a new focus on style. And they're about to shake things up in the small crossover segment with the all-new Envista.
If you're like us, the first thing you notice about this all-new 2024 Buick Envista is that it's gorgeous. While everyone else in the SUV world seems to be trying to out-rugged one another, Buick creates their sleekest and best-looking SUV ever, then drops it right into the hot premium small crossover segment. It's low-slung, has a long wheelbase and a tall rear, but whatever you do, don't call it a hatchback, even though there is no rear wiper. Minimal headlights are the most emphatic presentation yet of Buick's wing lighting. Starting with base preferred trim, you can either go sporty with an ST or premium with this Avenir, which gets a black ice chrome grille and pearl nickel 19-inch alloy wheels. For now, this Envista is front-wheel drive only, working with a 6-speed automatic transmission. And producing the power is a tiny 1.2-liter inline 3-cylinder turbo engine, rated at just 137 horsepower and 162 pound-feet of torque. Despite the low numbers, it feels peppy off the line and seems to be more than adequate when scooting around the urban environments that Buick claims the Envista was designed for. The extra-long wheelbase allows for a good amount of space inside, including for the rear seat occupants of this 5-passenger utility, and lots of side glass helps to lend a spacious feel. We found front seats very comfortable. The dash top features an ultra-wide display enclosure that is made up of separate screens, 11-inch for infotainment and a very simple 8-inch driver display. The central touchscreen works well, and both screens are easy to read quickly. Avenir luxury touches include unique stitching on the leather heated front seats, wireless phone charging, and a heated steering wheel. But a sporty flair is present as well, with flat bottom steering wheel and big traditional shifter. Cargo capacity in back is 20.7 cubic feet, expanding to 42 with the rear seatbacks folded. A power liftgate is standard with Avenir, but can be added relatively inexpensively to other trims. Buick has applied their quiet tuning to the Chevrolet Trax chassis used here. It's perhaps not quite as effective as in their larger utilities, but there was surprisingly little road and engine noise in the cabin. Avenir also has an upgraded Watts link added to the simple torsion beam rear suspension, not necessarily to improve handling, but for better road isolation, enabling a smoother experience. Though it seemed to hold up just fine in our handling course, but aggressive stability control did step in well before we could really get a true sense of its limitations. At a moderate pace with smooth inputs, there was very little understeer and a tolerable amount of body roll. That peppiness we experienced on the street was present at the track too, but primarily just for getting you going. Once you got rolling and kept the throttle pinned, power delivery plateaued quickly, and it was a lengthy 9-second trip to 60. The thing that seemed to be in the biggest hurry here was the transmission, trying to get into high gear as soon as possible, something you'll appreciate more on your commute than at the drag strip, where it manifested itself with a 16.8-second quarter mile at 81 miles per hour. There was a bit of a disconnected feel in panic braking, as the Envista seemed a little slow to respond. Still stable 120-foot stops from 60 miles per hour rate good. Pricing starts at $23,495 and reaches $29,695 for the Avenir. Obviously, sticking with base to mid-level will get you the best value, but the top Avenir makes the premium case just about as well as any rival, and makes for legitimate cross-shopping with an awful lot of non-luxury brands, though no all-wheel drive will surely be a deal-breaker in northern climes. You may have noticed there's no longer a circle around Buick's Tri-Shield logo, and much like they visually set the shields free, Buick has unleashed their designers to make a statement in the small crossover segment. All in all, we'd say the 2024 Buick Envista is a great effort, continuing the Buick tradition of making premium vehicles attainable. If this is what they can do with their entry-level model, we can't wait to see what comes next. And it sure is good looking.
Well, that's our show. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, for more MotorWeek, including daily news updates, podcasts, and even complete episodes, cruise on over to pbs.org/MotorWeek. And I hope you'll join us next time. For a pure roadster experience in the Mazda MX-5 Miata, then it's compact practicality in the latest Hyundai Kona. Till next time, I'm John Davis. We'll see you right here on MotorWeek.
To learn more about MotorWeek, television's original automotive magazine, visit pbs.org/MotorWeek. To order a DVD of this program, call 1-800-873-6154. MotorWeek is proudly sponsored by Auto Value and Bumper to Bumper, a nationwide network of stores and shops providing major brand auto and truck parts and service from coast to coast and in your local community. Service is the difference. We get it. Learn more at autovalue.com and bumpertobumper.com.
TireRack.com is proud to support MotorWeek.
And now, a very brief history of TireRack.com. First there was the wheel, then the tire.
We'll call it Tire Rack.
40 years later, we're not slowing down. TireRack.com.
This program was produced by Maryland Public Television, which is solely responsible for its content.